Hey everybody, today we are here in Bowling Green, Kentucky at the National Corvette Museum, where we're going to go in and take a look, see what they have here. This has been on my to-do list for several years now, but I just haven't had the chance to make it up here. But today's the day we're going to go in, take a look around, and see what they got. So y'all come on, join me, and let's take a look at this. We start the tour. The first car you encounter here is this 1953 Corvette, and it has been meticulously restored, they say, and you can tell it's a really beautiful car, but this is what started it all. Now, I think it had a 6-cylinder engine in it back in the day. You won't see very many 53 model Corvettes. Here's a mock-up of a wind tunnel car that they had. 2019 ZR1, and it is beautiful. In this orange, it looks kind of metallic looking on the orange paint. It says 1,064 horsepower. That is just incredible. It says a LT7 engine in there. And it has a flat plane crank. It has a display here that shows Corvettes and then represented in different ways here, from movies and toys and everything. The guitar, it even sees the black and white. Looks like it has the cove of one of the early Corvettes there. There's a 1990 model ZR1 in red. Here's a 2009 ZR1. It's called the Blue Devil. I have old video here from television that shows the Motorama that GM used to sponsor years ago.
Tomorrow grows from today, and today grew from yesterday. The history of engineering, from the invention of the wheel to the promise of the future. Visitors to the motor costing chamber, which reproduces all types of road conditions.
This red one with the white coves right here is a 57 model. I guess you would say they've got this set up kind of like an old downtown. Here's a toy emporium. You see a lot of Corvette related toys there in the display window. Wow, this is a 1954 Corvette that I had actually heard stories about, but it's called the Entombed Corvette. And a guy drove it for several years, and then he enclosed it into a room where it stayed for several years, and it was finally brought out. So let me see if I can zoom it on the picture here. There it was, entombed inside of a room there, but it was removed let's see, in 1982 it looks like, and then it was actually placed in someone's living room where it stayed for 10 years. That's really interesting.
In the history of Corvette, there are a number of unique stories about various cars out there, but one early Corvette holds a very special and unique story. This is the famed Entombed Corvette. This car, of course, was purchased by a gentleman named Richard Sampson back in 1954. And his daughter Cynthia is still alive today. We had a chance to interview her about this car. Her dad bought this car in 1954. He loved cars and had an interest in the new Corvette, so he purchased it. But his wife didn't seem to like the car that much. And in 1959, he decided that if he couldn't enjoy the car with his wife, he wouldn't drive the car. Now, Mr. Sampson owned a chain of grocery stores out in the Brunswick, Maine area, and he was having a new one built. So he drove the car down to the grocery store construction site, handed it over to the construction crew and said, I want this car locked away in a tomb in the building. They then proceeded to build a brick and mortar tomb inside the grocery store. The only way to see the car inside of the tomb was through a small 1 square foot window in the stockroom, and also through a trap door that led down into the tomb from an office above. There were 2 incandescent light bulbs that could be turned on with a switch inside the stockroom to check on the car. Now, the car went into the tomb in its original paint, original interior, original top. The top was up, the side curtains were in place, and that is the way it sat in the tomb until the 1980s, when new owners purchased the land and grocery store and requested that the car be removed. Now, Mr. Sampson had passed away, so the car was actually given to Cynthia. She didn't know what to do with the car, so she took it with her to Daytona, Florida, where she lived. She had the sliding glass window removed from her living room in her house and actually had the car placed inside of her living room, essentially putting it into a new tomb in Florida. It lived there for another 10 years before she decided to finally sell it, and it moved into private collector hands. It traded hands a few times. Of course, famously, many people will remember this car crossing the auction block at Barrett-Jackson, and the owners from that auction are the ones who would anonymously donate this car to the National Corvette Museum. The car has lived an interesting life. It only has 2,344 miles on the odometer, and still to this day is retained in its original paint, interior, and top. And you may have noticed that the paint has a lot of maybe what you would call blisters, or some people call solvent pop on it. It's very common in the early Corvettes, 1953 to 45.
Well, I'm not going to get any more of this video. That's a very interesting story, though.
So quickly that they didn't give the resin of the fiberglass a chance to off-gas. And what will happen?
You have a few motors displayed here. They've even got old flathead Ford motors, which I'm surprised to see here in the Corvette Museum. And here's a cutaway small block right here where you can see the inner workings of it. We've got see-through valve covers. And here's a look at an assembly line from 1973 Corvettes. Notice it has a rear bumper, but it doesn't have a front bumper, which lets you know pretty quick that's the 73 model. Shows them setting the body down on the chassis. Here's a 69 L88. They've got behind glass here, and they have a, I don't know if you call it a cutaway version or what, but they have it stripped down so you can see the inner workings of the Corvette there. Here's a 63 split window, and it was the only year that had that split window in it there. This is showing the fuel injection badging there on the side. Now this is what the Corvette could have looked like in '68. This is a prototype Corvette, and it was also mid-engine, called the Astro 2. Here was another prototype in '68. It was also called the Astro. I guess this was the original, and the blue is the Astro 2. But you can still see a lot of the lines, you know, that were actually made it to the '68 Corvette, but it could have been dramatically different. This one actually looks more like Speed Racer's car now that I look at it a little bit. On the wall behind this display, it also shows some more prototypes where they could have went a different direction with the Corvette. I don't really like the shape of this one. It's kind of space age looking. This body shape looks a lot like the Camaro and Firebird actually wound up looking like. Look at this one right here. It's called the 1964 XP-819. I guess nicknamed the Ugly Duckling.
Having it show up on the stage or on the road for the first time and see.
I actually kind of like it though. It's a little different, but I actually like it.
Designers and generating ideas, we kind of just pass the idea around between different people, and hey, what if this did that, or what if we could do this in a different way?
Look at that curved dash in there. And here's a clay model. Here's a 1956, it says ZR2 Corvette. And as you can see, it's all set up for racing. And it looks like they modified the front end on this. See how it slopes down, I guess for aerodynamics. And I see here in the display, they actually made a Hot Wheels version of this car. 1961 model that was raced in the Gulf Oil Championship. And here's a 62 model. And this Corvette here was actually called Stars and Stripes, or at least by Rebel it was, because they made a model of this car that you could build at home. I was reading the signage above it. This car right here averaged 175 miles an hour. Averaged that for 24 straight hours. So they kept this car really moving for a long time. Here's a Corvette that was raced in Le Mans. And I really like the looks of this car. That red, white, and blue looks really good on there. Have a shop area here where looks like they actually work on the cars and do some restoration on them. Here's a 53 Cutaway they've got sitting here on display. mounted chassis right there. I guess they're about to set the engine in there. Okay, now I'm in the Sky Dome, and it's a Corvette Hall of Fame. And let's do a walk through here and see what we see. Here's a white 54 Corvette that belonged to Jerry Lee Lewis. This is a 1964 Disneyland Autotopia Mark IV ride car. So I guess this is one of the cars you would ride on the tracks at Disney from 64, but it looks like it's maybe, you know, a 58 through 62 model mock-up of a Corvette. Wow, this is Roy Orbison's Corvette, and it had the 427 in it. Hey, I like that stinger on the hood there. That really sets it off. Now here's a 1973 prototype of the Corvette, and I'm glad they didn't go this direction. This kind of reminds me of a Pantera or something. This is a 1968 Corvette, which belonged to John Lovell, which was an astronaut. And I can't remember the details, but it seems like I remember at one time Chevrolet had a program where they would lease a Corvette to an astronaut for like $1 a year or something like that. George Jones 1978 Corvette. And over here beside of it is the Pace Car Corvette from the same year, 78. And they made a lot of these. I mean, these things seem to be everywhere. 94 rather. Look here, here's Brad Paisley's 61 Corvette. Now, if you haven't heard the story, they have a cover right here on the floor. It seems they came in one morning and during the night a sinkhole had opened up inside this room here. And you can look down through here and you can see it's very deep, and several Corvettes actually landed down in this sinkhole that opened up. They pulled some out and restored them, and others they pulled them out and just kept them like they were, I think. Now we're getting into some of the newer model Corvettes here. How you like that green and black? That looks pretty good. This was in one of the Transformers movies. Pretty sharp though. And they got something different going on with this Corvette right here. Let me see what I can find out. Side swipe. I kind of see some type of Cadillac features in the front of that somehow. You can see they're showing scenes from movies that feature Corvettes also in here. A 2024 hybrid Corvette, which is both electric and gasoline powered. I really like the color on this one. Here's a right-hand drive Corvette for I guess export overseas. As you can see, they put the steering wheel on the wrong side, or at least the wrong side to us. tell you, this room is really impressive. Here's a replica of the 1995 Indianapolis 500 pace car. Here's a 98 model, which it says it's an official pace car of the Indianapolis 500. Boy, that red 66 right there really has bright, shiny paint on it. That's really a sharp car right there. You know, I just thought of something. How many American cars came from the factory with side pipes? Says these are factory side pipes, and it seems like maybe Javelin had some, and I don't know if the Grabber had them. If you remember those, I guess from the 70s. But that's a good question. I wonder how many cars actually came from the factory in America with side pipes. 64 model. Just got some knockoffs on it too, like the red one had there. Daytona 500 pace car from 2004, and they're actually showing video of that race where I guess this car or one identical was pacing that race. It says there were actually 3 of these pace cars for the Daytona 500. And as always, you exit through the gift shop. Gift shop here that has, I guess, everything Corvette. I have a shirt similar to this that says nothing but Camaros, that has a lineup of Camaros like this. If you're looking for a Corvette die cast, they have plenty of options here for you. They have plenty of signage for your home or shop, whichever you need to put a few accessories in. They even have Corvette umbrellas here. That would be pretty cool. Now, when you first enter the museum, I have a little street here that's just lined up with Corvettes. I don't know if they have one of every color that is made currently or what, but it seems that way anyway. You can also see back here in the shop where they're prepping some new Corvettes to put on display. Out here it looks like. Okay, this gives me a little bit more information here. Apparently you can order a Corvette and have it delivered to the National Corvette Museum, where it will be prepped here for delivery. And I don't know if it goes on display here or you can just pick it up here. Okay, yeah, it says once it has been inspected, it's placed on Corvette Boulevard, which is the area I just walked through. Let me turn around here. And these all are, I guess, are waiting to be picked up by their new owners. Cool. License plates even say RAC Museum Delivery. Yeah. Yeah, it's on display here and has the name of the new owner. Now they have some simulators here where you can get in the car and drive, and I think I'm going to do that. So hopefully not already, but anyway, we'll give you a shot of what it looks like from the inside. You can see it has hydraulics and stuff on it. I guess when you go into curves, it will lean with you. So we'll see how that goes.
Go out and get your picture.
Guess this is the Stingray room right here. They do have a storyboard that kind of shows the process of building a Corvette here. Well, everybody, that was our tour of the National Corvette Museum. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I know I enjoyed going in and looking at all the Corvettes. And if you don't mind, I appreciate if you would give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you liked it. And hopefully we'll catch you in the next video. Until then, may God bless you. Bye. If you're as old as I am, you will probably remember this guy. He's the Michelin tire man. And they still give you free air here.